Happy St. Nicholas Day, everyone. It is Sunday at 3 o'clock, and I'm getting bright light because it's the afternoon, so I tried hanging a towel and a sheet up on my window, but they kept falling down, and I was just getting sweaty doing it, so you're going to have to deal with the glare. It's 2020, so everything is just a little crazy. My camera phone is a little crooked. But we're going to go ahead right now, and we are going to talk about Happy St. Nicholas Day. So St. Nicholas was a guy who was born in the 3rd century, 270 AD to be exact. He was born to really wealthy parents. And hi, Fiona. Happy St. Nicholas Day. So he was born in the 3rd century, 270 AD, and he was born into a rich, wealthy family, and they passed, and he was left orphaned. And he just didn't want his money, and he spent his life and times helping the sick and the poor and giving to charity and helping people. The funniest story, or the most memorable, I should say, was when a father had 3 daughters, and he had no money for their dowry, which would mean they couldn't get wed, and they'd probably turn to a life of, prostitution. So the story goes that he threw 3 stockings filled with gold coins through their window. It landed by their shoes, which were warming up by the fire, and there started the St. Nicholas tradition of leaving stockings or shoes by the fire. Now, the other thing is he lived till the ripe old age of 73. He became a bishop, so he wore the pointy hat, and he wore a red robe, and he gave to the poor, and he especially gave to them at Christmas time, and kids would leave shoes out, and he put gold coins in the ones that were good, and that's where the 2 parts of this recipe today is going to come in, but we'll talk about the bad, naughty list later. What else? He was a bishop, he died. The story just spread all over Europe as years and centuries went by. The Dutch called him Sinterklaas, which again in modern day became Santa Claus, and St. Nicholas, and now Father Christmas too. So in Italy, they celebrate St. Nicholas Day, December 6th, with a big feast. As Italians do, they love to eat. So if you're going out for Sunday dinner or cooking at home, you can make it a St. Nicholas Day. If you didn't buy your kiddies or your significant others any things, you can do something as easy as little Christmas socks and little caramels. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You can just set it at their plate for dinner or put it in their shoes and surprise them. Put $5 in. They'll be happy with anything. Okay, so the stockings were hung by the chimney with care, certainly got filled with treats. Throughout the years, there were toys, treats, and oranges. So in light of St. Nicholas Day, where you're supposed to give and help the poor and feast and everything, and my grandfather always told me about when he was in the Depression, he got oranges for Christmas. So I am going to make, because I was going to make it tomorrow for Make Ahead Monday, but we are going to make Orangecello. Orange, and some people call it Orangecello for the word for orange, but I just call it Orangecello. Last year we made a fabulous, my sister and I and Caroline made a fabulous limoncello. We still have some in the freezer, and I still get compliments on it. They actually said, an Italian said this, that it was the best limoncello that they ever had. So I think just like St. Nicholas, if you give from your heart, it's nice to always get a homemade gift. Okay, so what we want to do for 750 milliliters of vodka, this is 1.75, so we're only going to use half. Oh, that's another thing. Let's talk about that. For the liquor for Orangecello or limoncello, you can use either vodka, which I like, an 80 proof vodka, or PGA, pure grain alcohol. Now, pure grain alcohol to me sounds like a frat party, and it means a big old headache in the morning. So I highly recommend just using a nice, clear 80 proof vodka. Hi, Stephen, how are you? Just use an 80 proof vodka if you don't want a headache. I know people like the pure grain, but I don't. I would only drink and give somebody something that I was willing to drink or give or would like to get. So we're going to use oranges, of course, for our Orangecello. It's really simple. It's just oranges, sugar, and water, and vodka. 4 things. And the other 2 things you make 2 weeks from now. So right now, all you need is vodka and oranges. For 750 milliliter, I think 8 to 10 oranges is good. And then people either zest them, but I think it gets cloudy. At the end, when you have to strain it out, you're gonna have to do extra work getting all of that zest out. I did it with the peels and the zest last year, and quite frankly, we couldn't tell a difference, except the zest was more work. So I highly recommend using the orange peel. Now, some oranges will peel so easy like I just did, and some, like this thin-skinned, won't. There's 2 types of oranges people like to use for Orangecello. One would be a Valencia. Now, Valencias have a ton of juice. They're perfect, I think, they're perfect for when you want to infuse vodka or gin or tequila with orange. Valencias make a great infusion. I don't think their skin is great for a Orangecello. With that being said, what to use? Navel oranges. Not only are they on sale everywhere right now, I mean, I got a bag of 14 of them for $2.99. So there you go. But you can get them anywhere. Navel oranges, your standard of oranges, you can get them anywhere. And all you have to do is peel them. And the lighter you peel them and the more careful you are, the less pith you're gonna get. Now, pith is the white part inside the orange. And let's say, here's a good example. That's too much pith. If you put the pith in, it will be a bitter drink, which is okay. You can just, if you're not that careful, you can balance it out. And for your simple syrup part of the drink that you'll add in 7 to 10 days to 2 weeks, depending on how long you want it to sit and how long you have to make it. If you leave a lot of the pith on and it's bitter, just up the sugar to water. So do 2 parts sugar to 1 part water when you're making your simple syrup. And again, when you're making it, you could do it 1 part sugar to 1 part water. That's the standard recipe for simple syrup. That would be fine. If you make too much of it, for this 750 milliliter, I'm gonna do 2 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar. But again, that doesn't go until later. So I'm not gonna sit here and peel all 9 oranges or 8 oranges. I just wanna talk about the container. Now, this is an empty bottle I have, but as you can see, trying to sit here and shove all of these in would be time consuming. So I save my clean lemonade juice bottles. They're plastic. I prefer to let the peels sit in glass. So once I'm offline with you guys, I'm gonna go search for my glass pitcher, which is underneath my island. Just didn't have time to dig it out because I just wanna show you. So you take the peels for 750 milliliters of vodka. You take the peels of 8 to 10 oranges, your choice. If you use 500 milliliters, obviously 4 to 5 oranges. And if you use this whole big guy, 12 to 14. And then you would have to up your simple syrup. So I'll post the recipe, and then you could either subtract or add your simple syrup. All right, so that's all it's gonna look like. And then we're gonna take it, I'll peel and put the rest of the oranges. I only did about 3, and obviously save your oranges, because that'll be for the next recipe. And then you just cover them. This is it. Cover it with half the bottle, because again, this is 1.75. I'm only making half. And the other half, I'm gonna do a limoncello. I can post that recipe too if you like. It was a huge hit at our Christmas Eve dinner. Everyone had their own little bottle with a tag at their place setting. And my Aunt Martha actually just called me, or texted me rather, on, there you go, half the bottle. And she said it was such a treat. She's kept it in her freezer. You can keep your limoncello or your Orangecello in your freezer or fridge. I like the freezer because it's excellent when you're just taking a sip after dinner. So it makes a good gift. It makes a good aperitif. It's good for your digestion because it's got oranges, it's got vitamin C. So that's it. So now we don't want to store this in the fridge. We want to store this back in the pantry in a cool, dark place. Again, 2 weeks would be great. Christmas is coming up. If you need it sooner than that, 7 days is fine. The longer it sits, the better it will get. Unlike lemons, if lemons sit too long, they get bitter. So note that if you're making the limoncello, just do a week at this part. So we put it away somewhere dark and cool. We take it out a week from now. And again, really 7 days is the minimum. So this is why I'm doing this recipe now, so that you'll have it come holiday time to give as gifts or to enjoy at your own dinner. Okay, so once that's done, we are going to take 2 cups of sugar to 2 parts water. I would, if you like it sweet, you could do 3 cups to 1 cup of water, or I believe it's 2.5 to 1.5. So let's just pretend we're doing it because I don't need it for 2 weeks and I don't want it to sit in the fridge. I want to make it fresh. And then once it goes, boom, you do that. You pour your water in, you dissolve your sugar, you put it on high, and once it comes to a boil, you just want to stir it with a spatula, a rubber spatula, for about 3 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how much sugar you put in. It should only take 10 minutes. 5 minutes to dissolve, sorry, and then simmer it on low for 5 minutes. Once it reduces by half, put it in a clean glass jar and let it cool. So let it cool on the stove, then let it cool in your jar. Once it's completely cool, you take out your vodka and orange and you strain the peel out, or the zest, but again, the zest is going to make it cloudy, and if you're giving it as a gift, it's really beautiful, just a bright orange color. So you would strain out the peels, pour the simple syrup in, swish it around, and now you're going to store it for 2 weeks. Tops. That would be great. It could sit for longer, but if you don't have time, so really it's a 3-week recipe. Perfect timing before the holidays. And if you need to make it even quicker, I do have a recipe for that. The quick way would be to like a smaller batch and just do like 2 cups of vodka to like 4 to 5 oranges, let it sit for 48 hours, and then take the juice of those oranges. When you wait 2 days, cut them open, squeeze them, put them in the pan with the sugar, one cup and half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water, and you will have a very, very orangey sweet simple syrup, and then you would pour that in your vodka and peels that sat for 2 days, and boom, you're good to go. It won't have the flavor and the quality that the 3-week one will, but if you're in a bind, it works in a pinch. So that is your St. Nicholas Orangecello gift and or drink that you should make for the holidays. And we are going to enjoy it. I know it. You can get the little labels and tie it on, and it'll be adorable. At the end, I'll show you the little bottles. I don't think I have any here. I think they're in the freezer, so I would have to climb up. I got cute little bottles on Amazon. I did about, I think it was a 6-ounce bottle. So that should probably make at least 10 to 12 6-ounce bottles for yourself. I still have a limoncello. I'll pull it out of the freezer. Now, here's the second part of our St. Nicholas Day. St. Nicholas was a good guy, obviously. He was Santa Claus. He was Santa Claus. So when there's good, there's always evil. When there's nice, there's always naughty. So the other thing we're going to be talking about today is Krampus. Now, there's a movie out with Toni Collette and I believe Adam Scott, and it's cute. It's a little scary at some points, but it's fun, and it tells all about Krampus. So Krampus, basically how St. Nicholas spread throughout Europe, Krampus also spread, I believe, in Germany first. Leave it to us Germans to invent a demon. So, hi Sheila, how are you? Hi Regina, hi Robin. So Krampus was the devil. He was horned, he was ugly, he was scary, he was meant to scare the kids. He was a story that they told so that kids would behave. And the story went that Krampus would follow St. Nicholas around to the houses. And if you were on the nice list, St. Nicholas, of course, would give you treats and toys and fruit and candy. And if you were on the naughty list, you would get charcoal. Now, I looked it up, and I could not find why the kids got coal, because if you ask me, they could have burned it and kept themselves warm back in the 16th century. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to actually be making a drink called Krampus. And it's sort of like a take on a Manhattan. Oh, this is why I left this out. We are going to need this at the end. All right. So let me move my limoncello, orangecello stuff. And hi, Paul, how are you? And now oh, there's the sun, it just went down. Oh, it was blinding. Now I can't see my list, but oh well. What else? So he followed St. Nick in the shadows. He gave the kids that were naughty, he gave them coal and such and such and such. So this is my take on a Krampus. You are gonna take a coupe glass, or you can take one of these cute little glasses, you can make it red, or if you put 1 drop of green food dye in regular old sugar, it will come out olivey. So there you go. So we want a 30-minute chilled glass. Now you can eat, obviously if you put it in the freezer, it's perfect, but my luck, it would fall out and break my grandmother's glass. So I like to just put ice, and then once we're ready to pour, you dump this ice. That's how you chill a glass without putting it in the freezer. Okay, so in a glass, a regular old glass, we are gonna take whiskey. Now, you can use bourbon. Most people are apt to have bourbon whiskey and not just whiskey. It's hard to find rye whiskey in the house anymore. When we were growing up, my mom had Canadian Club. But the difference between whiskey and bourbon is whiskey is a bit more spirited, more spicy, more, what else did I say? Fruity, whereas bourbon is smooth and much sweeter. So for a demon drink like a Krampus, we're gonna use whiskey. There's 2 types of whiskey going forward. There's American rye, or there's Canadian rye. So the American is known as rye, and the Canadian is just known, I'm sorry, the American rye is known as American rye, and the Canadian is just known as rye. So the American is stored in charred oak barrels, which makes sense because it's perfect for charcoal. So it's in a jar. So using American whiskey in this drink is the way to go. It's stored in a charred oak barrel, and it has to be 51% from rye grain, whereas a Canadian whiskey can be 9-to-1, 9 parts corn to 1 part rye. Just a few little tidbits about whether you want to use American or rye whiskey for this. What else did I write? Canadian can be a rye and a mash with corn and wheat and rye. So you kind of don't know what you're getting. Not too many people even drink it now. I did write down some brands of American whiskey would be like a Wild Turkey or a Bullet or a Jim Beam. And Canadian, the only one I know is Canadian Club. And then the other thing you're gonna use is an Italian vermouth. So we wanna use a sweet vermouth for this. Some Manhattans use a 1/2 ounce of dry and a 1/2 ounce of sweet. I made it like that once, it was fine. I made it the other way, didn't notice a difference, so I'm just going with the sweet vermouth. So you want an Italian vermouth. The thing to know about vermouth is it's like got so much sugar that you have to keep it in the fridge once you open it. So I had a bottle, I think, under my cabinet before COVID. That must have been there 2 years. So I threw it out, it was rancid. So that's that. So that's it. So all we need for this drink, besides the fun part, is a nice whiskey and a nice Italian vermouth. I was going to try to use this. This is Proper 12, which is Colin McGregor, I think. He's the UFC fighter, and I figured that would deliver a knockout punch. Wink, wink. He's such a bad boy. It would be perfect for a Krampus. But then I found some Jack Daniels, which is just Tennessee whiskey. It's a sour mashup. It's not a rye, but I don't have any rye. So we're going to mix it up today, and we are just going to start with 2 parts. And I'm going to just use, oh, I found my black boot. Little black boot. So we're going to use 2 parts. Again, this is for 2 drinks. 2 parts whiskey to 1 part Italian vermouth. Hi, Kay, how are you? Okay. And you're just gonna give that a stir. You're supposed to stir 30 times, but I just like to give it a stir before I add ice or anything else. All right. And now we're gonna dump the ice out of our soup glass. And we're actually gonna just put the ice in there and finish the rest. All right. Okay, sorry, got one thing. I forgot one thing. Okay. So now we have bitters. Some people use a combination of the aromatics and the orange. Some people just use the Angostura. Some people use just the orange. Use whatever you like. Obviously, the orange tastes like orange, which I think is nice in this. So we are going to, before I put that in here, sorry, I'm confused. We are going to put our bitters, just a dash. And you think it won't work, but it really will. We've talked about bitters on this show before. Just one dash of each is plenty, because you usually get another drop out of there anyway. All right, take some ice. Now you have to stir it about 30 times, but I did 10. Now I did another 10. Now let's talk about why this is a Krampus. Hi Caroline, how are you? Activated charcoal, can you see that? Okay, now this is charcoal that's been harvested from hardwood, which is the kind you want to get if you want to use charcoal in your drinks, in your food, in your flavorings, in anything. Charcoal actually binds to the bad toxins of your body and it gets rid of them. So even though it looks bad for a Krampus, it's actually a good thing. It's actually healthy for you. It has a plethora of good qualities to it. I've never had it before. I've always wanted to get it. Now this was $6.99 on Amazon, delivered Prime, so it wasn't that, expensive. And I thought, when I saw this Krampus, I thought it would be perfect. All right, so there. That's a lot of charcoal. I probably needed half of that tiny spoon, which is about 1/8. And all we're gonna do is pour it into our coupe glass. Oh, it's so scary. All right, now, what would any drink be in my book if it didn't have a great, oh, there, I forgot that's what I forgot. My toothpicks. What would any drink be if it didn't have a great garnish? So, for this Krampus, I thought, instead of a maraschino, which is a traditional garnish for Manhattan, I have 3 options for you. All right, you can use a peppadew, which is nice and has a little bit of spice. You can do a pepper drop, which is such a tiny little thing, and I thought it looked demonic. Or you can do my brandied cranberries or brandied cherries. That would be perfect because obviously bourbon would go in a whiskey drink. For this one, I am going to do, of course I'm going to do 2. And just because, can't have any type of Manhattan without an orange peel. All right, so cheers. It's devilish. It's good. Oh, woo! Woo! So taking a bite of the pepper before the cocktail just gives you the nice spice. Having the orange peel and the orange bitters is lovely. Can you see my teeth? Little black, huh? All right, so I hope everyone had a good, has a good knowledge now of St. Nicholas Day. It's not too late to run to TJ Maxx and get your kids some socks or some candy, or just dig in your pantry and give them some candy and a couple dollars and say, Happy St. Nicholas Day. Or if they've been bad, make a Krampus and let them deal with it. Don't get them anything. That's a strong drink, but it's delicious. So don't forget, once again, let this sit on your counter 7 to 10 days. Strain out the peel, make your simple syrup. It's on the recipe that I'll post. And then strain out the peel, pour your simple syrup in, and let it sit for another 2 weeks, and then strain it into bottles and give it as a gift in honor of St. Nicholas and your good heart for the holidays. All right, everybody, I hope you had fun. I know I went longer, but you got two drinks in here. And take care. Nice to see y'all. Can't shut my camera off.